Hey there, Ginger here. You might notice the background is a little bit different. You may also hear some strange, unusual noises in the background. That's because I'm at a hotel in Washington, D.C. right now. The reason for that is that I always tilt my head this way. It's weird. Anyway, the reason that I am in D.C. right now is because I went to the March for Life yesterday. Most people, well, as a lot of people know, the March for Life is an annual march calling for an end to abortion, the overturning of Roe v. Wade here in America. And it's been going on, I believe, since 1974, with tens, if not hundreds of thousands showing up every single year. If you don't know about it, that just shows how good the media is at not talking about something this big for 50 years, almost 50 years. So this year, this is my third year in a row, and whew, it's been quite the adventure this time around. One, I got to actually meet some of my Twitter friends here, including my crazy cousin, frequent guest on the show, Red. Got to meet her and some of her family, which was totally awesome. Also got to meet Jake Wilson at Jorville. He was on the show last week, actually, and got to meet him and his oldest. And so that also was very, very cool. Very much enjoyed doing that. And one other person I got to meet was Albany Rose. She is, and I don't think she'll mind me saying, she is that rarest of creatures, the pro life atheist who has got a great story that she's going to be showing, that she's going to be telling here on the show in the coming weeks. So look forward to that. And she also sells some some rather snarky pro-life T-shirts. It's cool if you think the pro-life movement is unnecessarily bland. Well, go and find Albany Rose on Twitter, and you will find that at least not everyone is that way. So, speaking of which, I've met some other great people along the way that with their own very impressive, very intense stories. One woman I spoke with, she's she was, I forget the circumstances of her birth, but it was nasty. It was not good. She grew up in kind of a rough home, um, and uh, wound up being human trafficked. Had a kid as a result of that, and wound up telling her the owner, for lack of a better term, that she had had the abortion he demanded, and then he let her go. Which that's there. I might go into more detail on that at a later time. It was pretty wild, but um, but yeah, it's just it's always a good experience coming here and being reminded that you're definitely not alone. If you are pro-life, if you are rabidly pro-life, like I am, you will realize that there are hundreds of thousands of people like you, and chances are they're younger than you, which is always very cool. Um, Also, as you might know, the president actually showed up at this one. First time that's ever happened, ever in almost 50 years. No president, regardless of campaign rhetoric, has actually showed up at a March for Life. There've been a couple of phone-ins and stuff before Trump, but that's it. That's the best you get. He actually showed up, and I still want to see a lot more action from him on this, like actual tangible action. But I got to give him credit. He was the first one to do this, and it was a great speech. It's a great, frankly, impassioned speech, and he wasn't afraid to call out people like Governor Northam in Virginia and his utter insanity that's been going on in Virginia. He wasn't afraid to call that out at all. Of course, the president being at the march brought up a whole new list of problems. It was most unfortunate as far as that part goes. We all got. I knew it was going to be different, of course, because the president's there. I expected security of some kind, but unfortunately, it was kind of a worst case scenario with security. I knew something was really up when, as we were getting close to the National Mall, all these groups were walking in a direction much closer to the Washington Monument that I'm used to. Usually, it's it's within a couple of blocks of the Capitol building is where the rally takes place. I'm like, wait a minute. Either for some reason they're having the rally, farther back, or there's so many people there already that they're like, oh my gosh, we might as well just go way back here, or they're funneling us to a security checkpoint. They were funneling us to a security checkpoint, which sucked. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how they could honestly have done it much better, other than just somehow be faster with it. And because what they had was just a lot, basically a line of metal detectors going across the National Mall, and I'm sure there were technical reasons why they couldn't squeeze in more of them. So they had a lot of that, but the lines were moving so incredibly slow. We were in line for like almost 3 hours. And the only reason we actually got past the metal detectors is because Trump spoke early. So as soon as a little while after he was gone and clear of the area, they just dropped the security and you could just go in. So that was unusual, to say the least. And yeah, Greg, you are correct. You heard absolutely correctly. It was incredibly crowded. It was, I think, honestly, I don't know if there's going to be an official estimate. I want there to be an official estimate. They kind of stopped doing that a few years ago when the district stopped providing official estimates for marches. I don't know why they did that, but they did a while back. And since then, it's just been it was over 100,000, because you can safely say that. Well, this was definitely more. Like I said, this is my third year running, and I've never been in one so packed. Never. I mean, we got there. It was, oh goodness. I think the detectors were kind of roughly perpendicular to the original Smithsonian Museum, the castle, and the crowd from the detectors went back almost solid all the way to whatever street it was behind us, which is a fair distance. You pack a lot of people in there. Then, of course, there was a crowd on the other side of the metal detectors, which itself was huge. Usually it goes, within between the stage and the media stand they have there is extremely packed. And it's packed a ways past the media stand, but not terribly far as a rule. Not as far as I think it was this year. And there was also, while we were waiting in line, there was a huge crowd back by the Washington Monument that probably just realized we're not getting in. We're not getting in. We're not even getting in line. Who cares? We'll just hope we can see and hear things through the loudspeakers. And after Trump spoke, I think a lot of people figured the speakers were done. I did for a minute. I thought they were just going to not have very many speakers this year. But there were still a lot of regular speakers, which I think threw everybody off. It actually threw off the vibe of the whole thing, which was kind of weird. I felt a little bad for Jeannie Mancini, the head of National Right to Life, trying to remind people, it's like, no, these are the applause lines. It was a little funny. I felt a little bad for her because, like, I'm sorry, you had the president speak first. You really should have had him speak last. That's really what should have happened. But whatever, schedules, rules, security. I'm sure all of that played into it. But it was still a fantastic march. Still all kinds of people from all over the country. And listen, a lot of people had given up trying to get in. So they actually went to the street early. I think the march started before the march started, if you know what I'm saying. I think people just started moving and then eventually realized that, no, wait, no, we're not supposed to move yet because we've got to wait for the official March for Life banner. So there was just this huge mass of congestion from where we were in the National Mall until we actually got onto Constitution Avenue, where the main march travels up to the Supreme Court. And it was, wow. Like last year was also very, very busy. But we were fairly close to the front last year. And even though we were close to the front, we really expected to be packed. We were still able to kind of hole hop. Like, okay, there's a break in the crowd. We're going to we got to weave our way through the march and and get up to the Supreme Court a little bit quicker. This time we were towards the back, and it was packed, like packed sardines, almost all the way up Constitution Avenue. We actually went up onto the sidewalk so we could have breathing room. It was wild. It was so many people. So I really hope, like I said, somebody does some sort of quasi-official estimate to say there were this many hundreds of thousands of people there, because I was there like when Obama was elected for his first term. I think they called that crowd over 400,000. This was way bigger than that. Way bigger than that. Like, this has got to, I think the biggest crowd was 600 some thousand back in 2013. This has got to be pushing that record. Greg, you asked who else spoke there. Steve Scalise spoke. Melissa Ogden, she's an abortion survivor. Another abortion survivor whose name I can't remember. I'm sorry. There weren't a ton of super high profile speakers this year, I think because it was President Trump. Last year, there were a ton of high profile speakers. It was like Abby Johnson. Like Vice President Pence was a surprise. Abby Johnson spoke last year. There were others as well. It was just last year, it was like just a parade of pro-life celebrities. This one was a little bit more muted as far as that goes. But again, they had President Trump. In fact, the fact that that it took so long for them to announce any speakers for the march this year had me thinking like 2 months ago that Trump was going to be there. I floated that theory to a couple of other people like Red and Crystal, and well, I was right. I was right. I was right. Like, actually, Greg, it was your tweet. Red sent me your tweet that was like, so looks like I probably made the right call. You hear that, political people? I can make accurate predictions. I can analyze stuff and make accurate predictions. So if you're hiring, I'm just throwing that out there. I'll just include that in my audition reel. But anyway, it was a good march. Still always a good experience. Lots of Baby Yoda signs, as one would expect. There was even one with it, the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the cat, that meme. There was one on that. It was like, abortion is healthcare. The cat's like, healthcare doesn't kill people. Pretty cool. I liked it. What else? I'm doing a lot. I'm sorry. As Crowder says, word whiskers. I'm trying to get rid of that. Not actual whiskers, just word whiskers. But, without scripts and everything, these things just happen. What can I say? So what else went on? That was really about it. Again, lots of nuns, lots of young priests and everything. Always happy to see that. There were, of course, many people were thoroughly represented, as per usual, at the March for Life. Catholics from this diocese, that diocese, this school, that school, just tons and tons. I saw one person with a sweatshirt from the Diocese of Phoenix. So that was cool. Phoenix, Arizona. I saw people from Fargo. I believe that's North Dakota, if I remember right. Fargo, Colorado. I hung out with people from Pennsylvania, Virginia, also Colorado. I talked to someone from Minnesota. One of my kids saw a sign from Ireland, of all places, if you can believe that. Pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. I mean, it is, after all, the biggest ongoing, I think, demonstration of any kind, really. But they call it the largest ongoing civil rights demonstration on the planet. I don't know of any other demonstration that gets this kind of traction, to be perfectly honest. But so yeah, it was just a great experience. Again, I plan on going next year. Maybe I'll take some more kids with me. I don't know. We'll see if I take any more with me than what I brought. It's always a possibility. And of course, there's always checking out all the other things there are to do here in DC. Like, we went and checked out Arlington National Cemetery, which is very cool. And, of course, I had to take the kids to go see the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Tell them a little bit about that, which was again very neat. I've seen it a couple times before, but it had been a good long while. And JFK's tomb, and checking out a couple of the other things there. It's under renovation, but we were at least able to see the outside of Robert E. Lee's old mansion. And goodness, there's Civil War unknowns. There's a tomb there. A couple other memorials, the USS Maine, if I remember right, that triggered the Spanish-American War. And just Arlington itself is beautiful. I got to deal with driving in downtown DC. That's always a treat. Whatever you can do, avoid that. Avoid that at all costs. If you value your sanity, do not drive in downtown DC at all, ever, for any reason. I'm just please, unless you're going straight to a hotel and plan on just staying there, just don't do it. Why? It's not worth it, people. Anyway, so it's then of course today we did the Library of Congress, which is again very cool. Jefferson's Library is still on display. I saw it there like 20 years ago or so, and it is still very awesome, still very impressive, and a few other cool exhibits that they had there. Nothing that stands out super awesome, but I enjoyed it. Then we went to the American History Museum, saw some things there, which they have a Batmobile there, which is neat. I always like the Batmobile. And we focused mostly on the Price of Freedom exhibit, which kind of walks you through our various wars and everything. And there was a gunboat there, the Philadelphia, from the American Revolution. It doesn't have a particularly storied history. Actually, it sank the first time it was used in battle, on the first day of the battle. But hey, whatever. We found it, and it's a gunboat from the Revolutionary War, so that's cool. And then, like I said, it walks you through all the different wars and everything. Some of the history. I paid a little bit more attention to World War II in the Pacific Theater, because most of the time we spend time talking about the European front, and don't talk about the Pacific, other than Pearl Harbor and dropping nukes. That's about it, really, that we normally talk about. So it was cool. And we're out of here tomorrow. Go do mass in the morning, and then we are heading back home. Long drive, long day. But as always, it's worth it. And we'll be back again to march again next year, unless, God willing, there is no more abortion, which we continue to pray for, frankly, every day. So actually, hey, and before I leave, I need to plug the 9 Days for Life novena that's going on. Now, novena is a Catholic thing. It's prayer for particular intention for 9 days. It comes from that 9-day period between Christ's ascension and the descent of the Holy Spirit, when he said, "You go up in the upper room and pray." So we modeled part of our, we modeled part of our prayer life after the 9 days that Mary and the apostles spent praying in the upper room, waiting for the Holy Spirit to come. And so anyway, a novena, again, specifically for an end to abortion. Now, if you're it's at 9daysforlife.org. We're already halfway done with it, but that's okay. Jump in now. If you're just finding out about it now, and you're worried about jumping in, go ahead, jump in. It's fine. And if you're not Catholic and you don't want to do the Hail Marys, don't worry. God's not. I don't think God's going to hit you with a lightning bolt or nothing. Just do the Our Fathers and the Glory Bees, and do what you're comfortable with. Okay. So just something to help unify us on this particular cause, so that we can finally bring an end to this. Because as much as I like going to DC, the march is a cool experience. It'd be cool to not have to do it. It'd be way better to just be able to come to DC and just go and take in the vast amount of sites and history that's here, instead of having to do this to show people. There's a lot of people that care an awful lot about this. You might want to think about stopping it. It'd be awesome. So, Madness. I'm sorry, you're coming in late again. I need to send you specifically an early notification. because because you always tend to come in at the last minute of these things, which I appreciate you coming in at all, because especially a lot of these things lately, I haven't been announcing ahead of time, mostly because I'm like, okay, I've got a few minutes, I'm going to do this right now. So I'm going to do a quick recap. If you've already listened to this and everything, you may leave now. The march actually was really awesome. Madness. It was really crowded. There was a lot of extra security that kind of made things a little confused. And because it was so crowded, it got a little confused with Trump being there, like, speaking early on the list as opposed to kind of at the end, which is what I expected. There were a lot of people who I think started marching early, and everything, it got a little confused. Not everybody knew exactly what was going on, but eventually we made it through. We got all the way up to the Supreme Court, where it was over and done with. And oh, the Hodge twins were there. Dang, that's awesome! Holy cow, that's awesome. And there were a lot of people here today. I think Knowles was there as well, but I didn't see him, unfortunately. Again, nor did I see the Hodge twins, although I say they're hard to miss. But then again, it's a crowd of many hundreds of thousands. So what you gonna do, right? So anyway, it was really awesome. Plenty of young people, plenty of priests and nuns there, and again, it's a great experience for anyone who can make it. Especially, again, I'm going to throw this challenge out there again, and I'm going to kind of bang this drum a lot throughout the year. My Protestant friends, come. If you guys can match the numbers that we Catholics send there every year, we will flood this city. All right, seriously, there will be no room for anyone else. Okay, you guys come in the same numbers that we do. Now, I want to see your first Pentecostal of Scranton, Pennsylvania flag flying. I want to see your non-denominational evangelical churchy word salad sign flying. Okay, I'm serious. I want to see all of these things flying up there with Fordham, with pro-life Fordham University, with Catholic Diocese of freaking Scranton. Why not, right? I want to see you. I want to see Promise Keepers marching with Tradition, Family, and Property. Okay, I want you all there next year, and just it'll show so much more how unified we are around this particular cause. Yeah, we've got our other theological differences, but when it comes to this particular issue, so what? So what? Come on, come join us. We want you here. We all do. I mean, you're represented well on stage. I can say that. But I want to see more of you guys here because that will be awesome. So if you're out there, if you're a Protestant that's listening to this, talk to your friends, get them out here, sign up for your local Right to Life. Probably organizes a bus trip. Get out there, get on it. If they don't, talk to whoever your pastor is or your council or board or whatever it is, whoever it is that makes a decision where you go to church, makes the decisions where you go to church. Talk to them, start lobbying them. If you can muster a Ford Transit full, get them out there. Why not? Come on. I want this street next year should be even more flooded. Because right now is maybe the best chance we've ever had to really go on the offensive. President Trump has bought us breathing room. Now, in many ways, our politicians have squandered that. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact. But we can't. Now, that does mean we have to be more involved than just coming to the march. And if we got to be involved year round, and that does mean prayer first and foremost. Okay, I think we can all agree on that one. But it also means getting out there in the trenches. It means don't it means donating to whatever pregnancy resource center you have. If you have the time, go and volunteer. If organize a group at wherever it is, at whatever church it is that you go to. Organize a group to collect donations for single mothers. Help start looking into promoting adoption more. That is huge right now. We could definitely do a lot more with promoting adoption and any laws that we could possibly pass that will make abortion. Boy, that's a weird slip. Make adoption so much easier and more affordable for people. Because right now it can be stupid expensive. It's insane how expensive it can be. But we need to work on that. Okay? And again, be out there. And yes, lobby your legislators. When there's pro-life legislation coming up, lobby them to vote for it because they need to feel the pressure. These idiots will not do it unless they feel a ton of pressure. And that is one of the points of this march. What part of the point of this march is to let us all know we're not alone. And to fire us up for action throughout the rest of the year. But it's also to say to all of these politicians here in Washington, D.C., there are hundreds of thousands of people out there that are willing to travel sometimes across the country, sometimes across an ocean to participate in this. And if there's that many that are able and willing to make the trip here and endure hours out here in whatever weather it is that nature throws at us. Fortunately, we were blessed this year, and it was actually probably the nicest one I've been to. But there has been really terrible weather in the past, and people still show in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands every year. And eventually, enough of them will crack. Especially if, like I said, guys, Protestants, and if you're not religious at all, come down. I've seen signs for secular pro-life here. I've seen signs for gays for life. Like I said, Albany Rose that I said I met at the beginning of this. She is an atheist. She's very, very pro-life. I challenge any Christian to be more pro-life than she is when it comes to the abortion issue. I challenge you that. Okay? So come on next year. Let them really see how many of us are out there that are willing to do this. And that if they want our vote, there's certain things they better do, and certain things they definitely better not do. So, with that, I just need to. I'm going to throw. I was about to wrap it up, but Greg mentioned in the chat there that the left is constantly trying to bully people online. Anytime you speak out about this in any way, shape, or form, they're trying to shut us down. I don't mean specifically this podcast. This podcast is significantly small. It's sufficiently small. I don't think they're paying any attention to this particular show, which I don't care one way or the other if they are or are they not. It's not going to affect a dang thing what I say. So, but if you are out there and if you're running into the Twitter trolls or the Facebook people, whatever, don't let them bully you. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be a dick about it yourself. Be calm. Anytime you're tempted to lash out on social media, man, just take a step back, take a breath. That argument can wait another 10 minutes, okay? Take a step back and try to be rational, all right? In fact, on that, there was a great episode actually of Catholic Answers Focus recently that they went over how to argue for the pro-life position, and they go through various steps and everything. Just Google Catholic Answers Focus. It was last week's episode, and it was very good, very thorough, and I think had a lot of great advice that you could apply not just to the abortion argument, to just about any argument you get into online. And you can actually have fruitful discussions online. I have in the past. The key is to just simply don't get emotional. Don't take it personally. All right. Don't assume the other person is being a jerk unless they make it obvious that they're being a jerk, just to be a jerk. That certainly happens. But a lot of times, it's easy to misinterpret. With that madness, I hope you're able to be here next year. I hope you get moved over to the States. That would be awesome. And as soon as you do, you better let me know, because if you happen to be in my neck of the woods, I got to buy you a beer. So, with that note, I'm going to uh, I am going to wrap things up here and say be here next week. We're going to have Jeff from the GK podcast back, and we're going to be discussing like the right to self defense, because that was a little bit of a topic after that Texas church shooting a few weeks ago. And yes, it's a little late to be jumping on that, but it's a topic worth discussing just about any time, really. So, on that note, Madness, I'm glad you got that question in before I followed it up. Blunt Talk it's irregular. It's basically whenever Crystal and Red have a topic and they feel it, and they can work out in their schedules to talk about it. So it might be once a week. It might be once every 3 weeks. So that's about all I can really say there, as far as that goes. But also, I'm going to be get ready for a surprise here, probably in about a month or so. There's going to be another new short segment showing up on Fighting the Void that I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. I expect it to be a lot of fun. So, with that little tease and our call to action to get it involved out there in the pro-life world, get out there in the trenches, and all of my Protestant friends who are out there in the trenches, I know you're out there. You're out there at least where I live. I know that for a fact. Come here to the march. Bring a friend. Bring 12 friends. I want to see as many of you as I see of my tribe. All right. Especially if you're gingers. I want all the gingers. But all right. And with that, I will bid you all adieu. Look forward to Jeff being here next week, Paige Rogers the week after that, and hopefully Albany the week after that. So until then, y'all take it easy and keep fighting the good